They told her not to go in. Locals had all kinds of stories about Northern State, about the underground tunnels, the rusted autopsy tables, the ghosts of patients who had been forgotten long before they ever died. Some said they heard voices in the fields. Others swore they saw lights flickering in the abandoned wards at night, even though the power had been cut decades ago. But as far as Claire was concerned, legends were just noise. She had come for answers. Claire's brother, Daniel, disappeared in 1993. Vanished on a cool September evening with nothing more than a hastily written note that said, "Don't look for me. I'm going to where they listen." Police chalked it up to a runaway. Her parents buried his room under boxes, and eventually they all moved on. All except Claire. She kept digging, kept asking questions. And eventually, she found an old patient ledger from Northern State, sold at a flea market by a retired nurse who once worked the night shift in the geriatric ward. Buried among the yellowed pages, written in a shaky hand. Daniel Bell, admitted 1993. Auditory delusions, subject claims building speaks to him. She had never been told. No one had. And Northern State officially closed in 1976. Claire parked the car just after 5 p.m. The sun was low, casting long shadows across the fields that once grew vegetables for the hospital's self-sustaining colony. The buildings loomed in the distance. Weather-worn brick, shattered windows, and vines that clawed their way up broken facades. She ignored the no trespassing signs. The main entrance to the admin building had long since been sealed. But the east wing where they used to treat long-term residents had a basement door half hanging off its hinges. Claire stepped inside. The air was thick and stale, the kind of smell you'd expect in a place full of rotting memories. Water dripped somewhere in the dark, echoing like footfalls. She flicked on her flashlight. The halls were cluttered with debris-old gurneys, discarded patient files, and rusted wheelchairs. Her light passed over peeling paint and words scratched into the plaster. "They won't let me sleep. Listen to the walls. Still here? Still hurting." Claire swallowed. This place felt heavy. She passed the old hydrotherapy room, where restraints still dangled from the side of a porcelain tub. Farther down, she found the remnants of what used to be the activity hall. Graffiti scrawled across the walls, piano in the corner missing half its keys, and then she heard it, a voice. It was faint, like a whisper carried through the pipes. Claire froze, heart hammering. "Daniel?" The voice didn't answer, but it didn't stop either. A low murmur, a rhythmic echo. She followed it. The sound led her to a narrow stairwell, barely lit by the fading light bleeding through a crack in the ceiling. At the bottom, a heavy door. It groaned open into a tunnel. The air was colder here. She could see her breath. Her flashlight flickered. The walls were lined with crumbling tile, the floor slick with old water. Pipes ran overhead, and somewhere in the distance tap, the sound repeated like a metronome. And then she saw it, a figure at the end of the tunnel. She called out again, voice shaking, "Daniel." The figure didn't move, just stood there, back turned. She ran. The tunnel seemed to stretch farther the closer she got. Her footsteps echoed loud against the stone. The figure grew clearer, tall and thin, slack arms at his sides, wearing what looked like an old hospital gown. But when she reached the spot, no one was there, just a door. She opened it. The room was circular, with brick walls and an old drain in the center of the floor. Long dead surgical lights hung above. This had been an autopsy chamber. She turned to leave, and the door slammed shut behind her. Her light went out. In the dark, something moved. Not footsteps, but breathing. Labored, shallow, close. She pressed her back to the wall, fumbling for her flashlight. When it finally flickered back to life, the room was empty again, except there was something scratched into the floor now, right above the drain. Fresh. I tried to leave. Claire backed toward the door, pushed, yanked. It wouldn't budge. The whispering started again, but this time she could understand it. "I'm still here. Still here. Still here?" Voices layered over each other, some angry, some sobbing. One of them clear, distinct, and achingly familiar. "Claire?" She froze. "Claire, I didn't mean to scare you." Daniel's voice. She turned. He stood in the corner, half shadow, half light, older than she remembered, not 17 anymore. Her heart caught in her throat. "Daniel," she whispered. He nodded. "I couldn't leave. Not after I heard them." Claire stepped closer. "What happened to you?" He looked past her toward the wall. "They're in the walls. The patients they locked away. The ones they tested things on. They never left." He paused. "I thought I could help them, but I got lost." Claire's voice shook. "Come with me, we can go now." He smiled sadly. "No one leaves if the building doesn't let them." Suddenly, the whispers grew louder, rising into a cacophony. The light died again, and when Claire turned on the flashlight, he was gone. The room was empty, but the door, it had opened. She didn't remember running, just the blur of tunnel walls and the sound of 100 unseen voices screaming just behind her. She burst through the stairwell and out into the collapsing daylight, lungs aching, eyes wild. She didn't stop until she reached her car. Didn't stop shaking until she was halfway back to Seattle. She never told anyone what she saw that night. But sometimes, when she closes her eyes, she hears him whisper her name again. Soft, patient, and still waiting. And when the wind is right and the fog creeps in from the woods, the old hospital still stands there, silent, listening.